Representative Thielen.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm rising to cast a no vote and to speak in opposition to the Inter-Island High Voltage Electric Transmission Cable System, which will cost your constituents and the ratepayers untold amounts of money as yet to be determined.
Please proceed in opposition.
Thank you. Senate Bill 367 will shift the entire cost of the Inter-Island cable onto the ratepayer, all our constituents on Oahu. By voting for Senate Bill 367, we pass on to our constituents the entire cost of the cable, even if the final project does not deliver the electricity as promised. By voting for Senate Bill 367, we will be shielding Hawaiian Electric Company and its shareholders from all possible negative incomes. Wouldn't the representative from Manoa love to see these kinds of business deals in the general business community, as we all would? It doesn't happen. The normal business community shares a risk, as it should, and they don't ask to be exempt from it. Our constituents will be bound to pay Hawaiian Electric shareholders a guaranteed rate of return, even if the Inter-Island cable fails to deliver. And for the first time in HECO's history, the legislature will give HECO a profit no matter what, and our constituents will pay no matter what. Proponents argue that the risk is negligible, yet they insist that your constituents pay up front. But if the risk is so small, Mr. Speaker, why are HECO and Department of Business and Economic Development so determined to pass all the costs on to our constituents? Proponents also argue that by funding the cable up front, it will protect the ratepayer down the road. But is this really true? This legislation doesn't establish any protection for the consumer that would guarantee that the ratepayer would actually benefit from lower rates. And yes, Majority Leader, I've read the bill. Go look at page 19, 20, 21 and see what happens with this. We have no indication whatsoever what the price per kilowatt hour will be, but we are allowing the electric utility company to recover its costs. It can recover its revenue requirement resulting from acquiring the underseas cable system. It can recover through an automatic rate adjustment clause its revenue requirement resulting for the capital costs that it incurs for on-island transmission infrastructure. For those of you that haven't looked at your utility bill and seen the ECAC, that's the Energy Cost Adjustment Clause, where every time the price of oil goes up, Hawaiian Electric passes 100% of that increase on to the ratepayer. We're now going to have an ECAC for the cable, an automatic rate adjustment clause, meaning, boom, up it goes. And it can be coupled with the existing ECAC or be a separate one. To provide for the timely recovery of the revenue requirement, the Public Utilities Commission shall establish a separate automatic rate adjustment clause for that purpose. You watch your bill. It's going to go up, and you'll have no power or control over that. The electric utility company's revenue requirement shall include an approved rate of return. Wouldn't you love that? You go into business, you're not sure if you're going to be able to make it work, but you're going to get an approved rate of return. You're going to be guaranteed a profit. Hawaiian Electric is. Our other businesses in the state aren't. You're also going to be able to recover depreciation, revenue, taxes, other relevant costs, and the electric utility company's net investment includes the cable acquisition costs, costs of planning, permitting, construction, the on-island transmission infrastructure.
Excuse me, Representative Chin, would you yield your time?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I yield my time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. including an allowance for funds used during construction where the utility finances the planning, permitting, and construction costs. It's just outrageous, Mr. Speaker, because you don't know what the cost is going to be. Cost estimates range for $500 million to $1 billion, but we don't know because we've had no analysis made available to us as decision makers. 500 million to 1 billion, and yet it could be more. Is it fair to commit the public to having to pay back for this? Because the bill automatically gives them this and gives them a profit. Senate Bill 367 is rife with conflict, and it allows Hawaiian Electric, as I've been saying, to take great risk without any consequence, and may actually act to delay meaningful contributions to our green energy transition. We all want a green energy economy and a green energy island chain, but Senate Bill 367 could lock us into a lawsuit similar to Super Ferry. And as I noted to this body a while ago, a number of years ago, I said, don't do away with judicial foreclosures. Don't allow the banks to do non-judicial foreclosures because there'll be dire consequences to many of the people in our islands who will lose their homes. I said that a number of years ago. Today I'm saying we're passing a bill that can lock us into super ferry type of litigation, cause those expenses to the state. And Mr. Speaker, that takes the resources of the state to try to defend a bill that is a special interest bill for a monopoly utility, and it draws us away from the true renewable energy efforts that we should be making in our state. I would also note that many residents of Lanai strongly oppose the wind farm that would provide electricity for the cable. And I would just ask those of us that live on Oahu to think, what right do we have to say that the residents of Lanai should have a large portion of their island turned over to a wind farm with that, I'd say, visual blight, some would call it, to provide power for Oahu? Not for Lanai, not a self-standing wind farm to provide the power to take Lanai off the electric grid. But no, we on Oahu feel that we have the right to say, Lanai, too bad. You're going to have to be the industrial wasteland to provide power for the residents of Oahu. I think that's shameful, Mr. Speaker. By voting for this bill, we're going to be giving Hawaiian Electric a $500 million to $1 billion gift that may or may not work. And it doesn't matter whether it works or not. The ratepayer has to pay for it under this scheme. Wouldn't it be better to insist that Hawaiian Electric take a risk, just like any other business has to do in our state, Mr. Speaker? And then, if they had to, I truly question whether this big wind project from Lanai would be their answer. I truly question if they wouldn't look at local resources that we have right on the island of Oahu and tap into those resources at a less expensive cost to the ratepayer. This is a bad bill, Mr. Speaker, and I've read it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Representative Fontaine.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. I'm standing in strong reservations on this measure.
Please proceed with reservations.
While I'm in favor of renewable energy and the concept of wind and other types of technologies that will help address our issue of, energy dependency on oil, being a resident of Maui and having wind technology on that island, it forever changed the landscape of the West Maui Mountains, having those windmills there. I think a lot of people on Maui bought into that consequence by thinking that by having wind, that our electric bills were going to go down, and in fact they didn't. They've been steadily going up. And so I'm concerned about that. I'm concerned about that impact that it will have on the people of Lanai. And the only reason why I'm not voting in total opposition is because I believe that it is a technology that we need to look at. I'm not in favor of the sweetheart deal that we are giving Hawaiian Electric in terms of doing this project. But I think we have to be really careful as we proceed forward with these types of projects and really take a look at the unintended consequences of our actions as this body moves forward. Thank you.
Thank you.